There we go. Yay! You gotta love it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Second Straight. I hope you're all having a very good day today. There we go. You should have the sound now, guys. You should have the sound. We should be good. Let me know. Let me know. What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for being here today on Second Straight. I've got a very good friend here. We're gonna have a conversation. I'm not sure if you guys have already heard this news. Let me know down in the comments below if you've already heard the name Pablo Hidalgo, if you know who the guy is and what he's done. This morning I woke up and seen this news on Twitter, seen it here on YouTube of this guy, a higher up there guy in the Star Wars film production, Pablo Hidalgo. Went out there and made some tweets about Star Wars theory. Big content creator, I would say, definitely YouTube's biggest content creator of Star Wars content here on the platform, in which he basically replied a reply about his reaction to seeing Luke on screen during The Mandalorian last week, which premiered on Disney Plus, and he tweeted out, "Emotions aren't for sharing." And like I said, we've got a good friend of the channel here to talk about it today. But first, I want to know if you guys have heard this news and what your thoughts are on this subject. We're gonna get right into it. I don't want to waste any time because I'm sure pretty soon you're all gonna have better places to go, but probably not. We might have a great conversation going on right here. So don't you leave. We've got some very good friends here in the building. We've got LB from the Lonely Banter. My favorite Porter, Mike Porter. Eric Heine is in the building. Ralph Dupree, thank you so much for being here, as well as TSG Comics. But let's go ahead and get into this, and let's bring in my good friend.
Pablo Hidalgo just said the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Yeah, that's the thing. The context of emotions that he's talking about. It's being really sad or having tears of joy, not because of sadness, because of joy. The context of the tears are happiness. The emotion that he's doing is positive. There is no negativity coming out of Theory's channel like ever. He keeps it happy. He wants to watch a show with you. He live streams with you. You can see his reaction. You know, you might be watching it alone, but it's nice to have it on the side to view. And maybe he'll say something when something happens. You know, he'll be like, "Okay, thanks for the insight theory." Like he's doing a community stream, and he says that emotions are not for sharing. What's the point of a TV show if it's not to draw emotions? Am I muted? Am I muted? I got it playing on my phone. I could hear myself when I spoke.
There. That should be good then. All right, there we go.
I got it
All right,
playing on my phone. I can hear myself.
there we go. I know what it was. Is when I changed scenes, I didn't have my audio on.
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't have my audio. All right. There we go. There we go. It should be good now. It should be good now. Now, exactly who Pablo Hidalgo is, I don't know. I know that he's like one of the big producer head guys over there with Lucasfilm, I believe. And yeah, to make a statement like this, I think is very I don't know. Like here's one thing. I understand the thought of emotions aren't for sharing, right? I get that. I understand
you do.
I understand what that could mean. I understand what you could mean by saying that, but
Yeah.
like you're saying, it's not one of those emotions. He's showing appreciation and his love for this franchise, and I think that this guy coming out here and doing this is very tone deaf.
Mm.
It's not very representative of their brand, their company, and what they're wanting to put out there. I wouldn't think. And here's the thing: I've certainly been somebody accused of not allowing people to show their emotions or care, maybe, which couldn't be further from the truth. But the thing is, um, I think look, we all have our platforms. We all have, there's all the time and place for things like that. And this man is on his platform doing his thing, you know, and showing his emotions for this love for this thing that he does. There's nothing wrong with that. He's not sitting there going through his personal situation in life, if he's having bad things go on.
No.
And even then, there's still not a problem with that if that's what they do is share their life in that way. He's
He's
sharing the love and
watching.
appreciation.
Yeah, he's watching the Star Wars show, and whatever happens, he will react to it. He's not even planning on crying during this episodes. He watched 8 episodes this year on his live stream. He cried for Boba Fett's appearance. He cried for this with the finale of. I don't know why I'm not saying it. We can all talk about it, right? It's been a week with
Yeah.
Luke Skywalker showing up. Those are 2 times that he got emotional on screen. That's okay. He's not planning on doing this. He's not faking it, because if he was, he would have done special things for not just 2 out of 8 of the weeks. He would have been doing that all the time. But I saw this man's face the whole stream, and he was just, dull. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then back to a dull face. He was watching the show. He's not putting it on for the camera. And when you look at the brand of Lucasfilm and you think that they're all about positivity and everything, it really feels like there's two companies. There's the one that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are doing, those 4 shows, and then there's this other.
Right. Yeah, and yeah, it's when I see this, like I said, I'm one of those people like I get on there, you know, I don't really watch reactions. I've never really even watched Star Wars Theory very much. And
Uh-huh.
this made me actually go back and watch that stream. You know, I went back and I watched, you know, his reaction when Luke's coming in. I'm like, I don't see the problem here. I don't see the problem with what's going on here.
Yep.
It was a
I'll
natural
tell you.
reaction that so many people had when that happened. I mean, even me, I was sitting there shedding tears during this thing, and I don't see the problem there, but I do see a problem with one of these heads of this company that is having problems in the first place with these kinds of things, interactions with fans. It's I mean it's no it's I mean it's no it's nothing new. You know, it's not some new discovery that fans have been adamant about their love and appreciation for this franchise,
Mhm.
and they, you know, no matter what part of fandom you are a part of, everybody has shown that, and we have
That's
seen where a
where.
lot of people have through these companies have come out and fired back at fans, and it's just not a good look.
See, because they, like Star Wars Theory, are against The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker and the trash that we've been getting. And once you do that, okay, the Lucasfilm Story Group, which he's the president of, they put their flag down and they're just anti everybody who didn't like the garbage that they were spewing out, which is garbage that they've been doing, episode 8 and episode 9. Now, here comes a Star Wars reactor guy who's happy about what's happening in Star Wars, that he has nothing to do. Too bad. I already put my flag down. I'm Pablo Hidalgo. You can't like other things that I'm not a part of. I got to shit on you. Sorry for that language, but yeah, that's what's happening here. It's just teams.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I just like I woke up to this, and like I said, I don't really go into a whole lot of this kind of stuff on the channel, but this guy, like, I mean, Star Wars Theory himself even tweeted about this stuff, and that's kind of where I seen it once I hopped on Twitter. You know, was
Yeah.
people sharing all this news, and it does. I mean, not only is it a bad look for the company, but I mean, the whole thought in itself that what this man tweeted was completely off in the first place. I think to begin with, let alone the fact that he's coming at it. approaching, and the fact that everybody knows who this man is. Being, I don't know, you know what I can't remember exactly what is his position within.
I'm on his Wikipedia right now. It says that he is the president of the Lucasfilm Story Group.
Okay, the president of the Lucasfilm Story Group,
It's like
and
he's what Dave Filoni isn't yet.
right, and so you could pretty much in a way say he's Star Wars, just like Kathleen Kennedy, right?
Yeah.
He
Hmm.
is Star Wars. And yeah, for them to come out and have somebody, and you know what, this honestly, as far as I know, this isn't even really like the first time that he's kind of rubbed elbows with the people at Lucasfilm and dealt with those kinds of things in the first place. Because wasn't he having some problems before with some of the content that he makes, copyright stuff?
Yeah, he did a fan film, and the rules are you're not allowed to make any money from the fan film.
Right.
And even that wasn't enough for them. They tried to like flag his video that he made. It was a Vader episode.
Okay. Oh, okay. Fanjecture is here in the chat, and this is somebody who I completely I trust right here. He says that's not accurate. He's not that position. Fanjecture. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you could leave that down in the comments, exactly what his is, because
Here it
I
is.
honestly
He
don't know.
is a he's a Chilean Canadian creative executive currently working for Lucasfilm on the Star Wars franchise and a member of the Lucasfilm Story Group. I said president. He was a member.
Okay. We'll see. I was gonna say Adam will answer here. Generally in charge of canon. I got Theory watching Luke because I understand his connections to Star Wars. You know, Ralph Dupree, and that's kind of the thing too. Is this morning I went through and I watched some of that stuff, and because I seen some of the reactions to it, but I actually seen I went through and I watched his full reaction once Luke stepped in. I was sitting there watching, and you could see the second that the X-wing flew in, like you could see theories. You can see, okay, senior creative executive of franchise story and content. Man, that sounds pretty. That sounds like he's a pretty important guy, if you ask
Hmm.
me. But I was sitting there watching. I watched the reaction through all of it. I was sitting there watching it. I'm like, dude, like his reaction was no different than mine was. Well, except for when that X-wing flew in. I shouted out loud, "Holy shit!" Because I couldn't believe it. Because I was like, we all knew, and I was still in denial the whole time. But yeah, Wikipedia isn't the best. No, it's not. Yeah, I totally get it, man.
No,
Um,
Wikipedia is funny. Like a few hours ago, it said that he got in a fight with Star Wars fans in year 2020 because he's sour. He's not part of the Mandalorian's creative process. That's what it actually said. Something like that.
yeah,
It doesn't say that anymore.
yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, people go through there and they change all that stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's not the best, but okay. Regardless, yeah, senior creative executive franchise story and content. That's still pretty high up there, if you ask me. And the kind of person that shouldn't be making these comments about this stuff, because I was watching his reaction today. Okay, this
Mhm.
morning before we came on the show, I went back and I watched it from the second that Luke flew in until the very end when he started talking about his reaction to it. And I'm sitting there watching. I'm not even watching the show. His reaction, watching him react to it, made me tear up while I was sitting there watching it. I'm not even watching the show. I'm watching his reaction to it. Right?
He's having an emotional moment because a childhood hero of his is on the screen, and it's not just him.
I had an emotional moment to his emotional moment sitting there watching the video. Right? Like I said, I seen, even on the Den of Nerds Live, they had a little cut that they put over there, where I think they did something like that, and they showed some of that, and I was sitting there, like watching. I was like, okay, like it didn't really hit me like that or anything. It wasn't, like didn't make me like emotional or anything. But then I watched the actual live thing sitting there watching, like if I was sitting here talking to you, reacting to it, and it got me emotional. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because it's that
Hmm.
same thing of seeing the human emotion. There's nothing wrong with that, and I think that's something that a lot of people interests a lot of people. Whether we're seeing somebody be emotional in that way, whether it's anger, excitement, all those kinds of things. It's something that we all kind of it's something that we all feel, and you can feel it through the screen when you see and interact with people. It's the very point of movies, is to move you, to make you feel an emotion, and to, I mean, that's the whole point.
You want that. You want an emotional connection between characters, moments in the TV show, so that you would
Absolutely.
continue. And it's being accomplished. And he's sour because, oh, look, they're crying that Luke is back, and they're
Right.
upset the way we did Luke in Last Jedi. Therefore, I must be upset. It's like Mike Porter just said in the chat.
Yeah. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Let's see. Yeah, I was gonna say, here busy. I haven't even really seen much of the chat. Again, thank you all so much for being here, and thank you everybody in the chat that was letting me know that you couldn't hear me once I switched scenes there. Ray Hall, Ords Boards, Ralph, Mike Porter. Thank you so much. Star Wars Santa, ReeferMan enjoying his vacation because of theories, tears. Yeah, yeah, theories. Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And that's the thing is like once again, man, we've got again these. This is just another bad look for Disney and Lucasfilm. Something they're gonna have to deal with. I know there's a lot of people out there that say like, oh, a lot of these people don't face repercussions for the things that they do or anything like that, but we've seen that there kind of has been. There hasn't been any kind of outright retaliation from the studios to these creators, like the Ryan Johnson thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You don't see any outright retaliation, but that's not the way a company is supposed to handle those kinds of things anyway, right? So I think a lot of people kind of get lost and caught up in that, and I totally get it, because when we see things like this, we do. I mean, we can see how many people are going to be talking about this today and for however many days about this exact same kind of thing. Where once again, we've got another studio coming out there, and just it's just a bad look. Somebody that loves the stuff that they're doing, somebody that promotes the stuff that they're doing, somebody that's emotional and sharing that emotion with people, and you're basically going to come out and say, "This guy's fucking stupid. Don't do this."
Yeah. So he's not going to get his lickings in public, but he did have to take down those tweets. This man is his time is ticking, just like Kathleen Kennedy's is. When she goes, he goes. There will be a mass exodus of like stupid people who approved of the sequel trilogy, and then the Favreaus and the Filonis will come in. Actually, fans, we have a say in this because 4 of the new Disney Pluses are Favreau Filoni verse, and the rest are not. I'm going to subscribe to Disney Plus for those 4 shows. Andor, what are the other ones? Lando. I don't care too much about it, so I'm not going to watch them on Disney Plus. I'm going to vote with my view, and we can send the message together that we want Filoni and Favreau in charge of everything.
Right, and here's my thing is like I'm kind of like I don't want Favreau to take this whole Star Wars like I love John Favreau and I want him to still he's got so much more to offer the world than just Star Wars, but for the time being right now I think
Yeah.
his guidance and leadership is needed there. We can see what they're doing with the Mandalorian. We can see how it's kind of brought people it's starting to break down barriers. Can we not admit that? Can everybody just admit that this show has started to and while it's brought down some barriers, it's also kind of solidified some and made the barriers go up even higher, it seems. Um,
Only with Pablo Hidalgo. He's like the 1%.
yeah, yeah, and um, yeah. Santa says I have some mixed feelings. People can have their opinions. Can people have private opinions separate from their jobs? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely they can. And that's why like I'm not saying this guy should be canceled. I'm not saying the guy should be fired.
I
But
am.
you know what? I guess just like the Great Council put in here, fuck Pablo Hidalgo. That's messed up. Because a guy that literally goes out there and shares your stuff, shares the love, promotes your stuff, you're just gonna like flip the guy off. You know what I mean? And like I said, I wouldn't say F this guy or anything like that, but in the sense that he needs to be fired, but it's messed up. And will he be reprimanded? Absolutely. I think he's high enough up in his position that he's not just going to be outright fired. I just don't think he's going to be outright fired for what he's done.
His contract will expire and they won't renew it. Same thing.
Yeah. Orville Nation here with a $2 super chat says, Happy Holiday, Second Street. Thank you so much, Orville Nation, for the $2 super chat. I do appreciate that. Let's get here into the live chats and see what some of the other people here are saying as well. We last ended with Ralph Dupree saying, okay. Will Morgan, thank you so much for being here. We got my man Lord Veedo says, I was in Theory's Discord when he posted it. He posted one video. Right. I saw. Okay. Then deleted it and made another. Okay. Theory was in Discord already. I told him, let's go to war and shit. I was hyping him up. yeah. And that's the thing. Luke had me crying harder than Theory, right? There you go. Wayne saying he had him crying harder than Theory. LB says, I know Pablo Noriega, the real Noriega. He owed me a few hundred favors. Oh, LB. Ralph Dupree says, I don't want him fired, but he should apologize publicly. Absolutely. An apology, sure. Yeah, absolutely. But Star Wars Santa says, I have some mixed feelings. Can people have opinions separate from their job? It says, what if your company monitored all your social media and punished you for things they don't approve? Right, yeah, absolutely. And I get that. And that's why I say, I don't think that the guy needs to be fired. Should he be reprimanded? And what does reprimanded exactly entail? If they pull him in to the office and be like, Pablo, bro, what are you
How does
doing,
that go?
bro? Like we're not gonna fight for this shit, but you can't do this to us. You can't do this to us right now, right?
Wait, who's saying that to him? Whose office is he in right now?
I don't know. Kevin Feige, because Kevin Feige is gonna whip it out and show him how to do shit. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I don't know who that would be. I don't know. Whoever his boss is that he answers to would have to be that person. It would have to be somebody like that. It would have to be a Bob Iger or one of those higher ups there.
See, this is too little to reach Bob Iger, wouldn't you say? I don't see any Well, I think this just goes. This is over. It's done.
Well, I think that talking from Bob Iger would be, the firm handshake and be like, "Hi, Pablo, how are you doing?"
Mm-hmm.
Because I think at that point you get it. But he definitely should be talked to by some of the higher ups because we know that this is completely a bad look for them in that way. But absolutely, Santa, and I get that too. If a company monitored all your social media, I think the only difference is in this sense is that he's representative of the company in the sense that of how he's who he's saying it about. Of who he's saying about more than anything. Because if he had said that, just don't share your feelings, just tweeted that out there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you don't know what he's saying it about.
Right.
You don't know what he's saying it about. There's no context, and you could probably agree with something like that if you wanted. Don't share your emotions. Okay, don't share your emotions for what reason? So yeah, absolutely. I just think it's the fact and the context and the manner in which he did it. But like I said, does he need to? Do they need to do anything to him, fire him, and all that stuff? I don't think so. Like you're saying, his contract will expire one of these days, and they can decide at that point if they want to move forward with him or what changes may need to be made right there. But yeah, and believe me, I totally get that as well because everybody has jobs, and you know what? There's people out there who are critical of their jobs, of the companies they work for on social media. And is there anything wrong with that? I don't think so. I think you're okay to scrutinize your employee and everybody is kind of under that scope. Like as an employer, you have an expectation to something you got to hold up to your employees and things like that. And by that same right, the employees do too as well. As long as they're doing what they need to do, as long as they're all fulfilling their contract, I guess you could say. is the important thing. But is it a hindrance to their job, to what they're doing? And that is where I think more of the conversation comes in at, where it how it reflects on everything altogether. Not necessarily that you have to fire a person or say they can't do this or that, but knowing the fact of what's at risk when you do these things. This guy works for this company, and him tweeting these things out about this particular person
Yeah, that's the
puts
thing.
him in a bad position. Puts them all in a bad position.
It's this particular person. Now they've been doing this about other fans, and they throw all these insults and labelize and categorize these other fans. I don't even got to get into it. I think you guys all know and understand. But then there's this guy named Star Wars Theory, who's just been, I don't know, neutral in this like the culture war and all that stuff, and he's happy that he sees it, and you're going after him. Okay, what that whole the high ground that they were standing on at Lucasfilm for crapping on the fans is gone now. Like that's a person you don't go after at all. He's just a guy giving his opinion, and he never. I'm trying to say it without saying it, but I think you get where I'm going, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and just like a lot of people are here saying about social media and things like that, and I'll tell you, I used to work for the world's largest big box retailer, and um, they have policies regarding it, but none so much that if an employee were to tweet or say some things that's going to completely put them in jeopardy. It really kind of depends um, what what context is in which things are going on, because you can even see here like a lot of people are saying a lot of companies do care, and I get that, but even like Santa says here, his high profile does place him put him in a place to be scrutinized. Now, one thing I will also say, and I just want to fire back with I want to just fire back with this about everything, and this kind of goes to what Santa's saying as well,
Uh-huh.
um in the fact of how would you say this? That oh well, a lot of fans out there already have come out and said, "Fuck all these Hollywood weirdos. I don't care what they think." And yet we know everybody cares about this, right? Everybody's gonna have something to say about this because it's where you draw the line. That's why you can't necessarily say things necessarily like that neither. Like, oh, I'm tired. F all these Hollywood weirdos, these producers, and all these studios and all this stuff. You can say all that, but here we're sitting here talking about it, right? Everybody's going to be talking about this probably for the next few days, if not longer. I mean, will this just be a one-day thing?
Yeah, it's got one day thing all over it.
It might be. It might be. I do think the thing is though is it's one of those situations that is kind of tricky because like I said, we plenty of people can sit here and say tired of these Hollywood weirdos, tired of all this stuff, and we are, but yet we're gonna still sit here and talk about this. A lot of those same kind of people are gonna make videos about this, and I get it because it's a trending topic, but hey, we're sitting here talking about it, right?
Yeah.
And my opinion isn't even that he can't have his opinion and feel that way or anything like that. I just think the way in which this was done doesn't look very good for him, for the company. Because like I said, in the context of which he did it, it's very off-putting. Like I said, you make that tweet without any context, people could probably agree with that and be like, yeah, you share your emotions. Somebody's probably bound to come in and make fun of him. Um, let's see.
But that's not what I'm saying at all, Xanta. If that's what you're saying, like
No,
I'm not
no, no.
against his opinion. He can say whatever he wants,
Right.
freedom of speech.
Mm-hmm.
But once you let something out there that's really stupid, I'm gonna have the freedom of my speech to, I guess, criticize that speech. So I'm all about the freedom right now.
Right. Yeah. And like Great Can Lunga is saying here, so it's a common thing. In his case, he works for a media company that relies on fans. It's a PR thing and looks bad. His entitled to his opinion, not to express them in public, and that's absolutely true too. And that's why I say too, like if he'd done it with no context, people could probably look at it and be like, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
Um, Fanjecture says there are multiple people above Pablo. Iger isn't talking to him. Yeah, I can't imagine he would. Like I said, it's a firm handshake. You know, they're walking down the hallway. um, Miss Hidalgo said, "Oh, ReeferMan Reviews. I believe it was what was it? Did he share a screen cap or what was it that he shared of theories that he said don't share your emotions."
Yeah, he said emotions are not for sharing in a Twitter thread, and it was in a reply to the video of Star Wars Theory, getting emotional and being sad. I mean, not sad, sorry, but having tears when Luke Skywalker appeared on Mandalorian.
Right. Um, okay, let's see. Lunga says, fire him, no, but make enough of a stink. They'll either change their ways or look at it when it's contract time. Yeah, absolutely. And then that's kind of what we're saying. Yeah, I mean, they either
It's
yeah, and he's already locked his Twitter account. He's already
I think
locked his Twitter account.
it was
Huh?
always locked. Even when he tweeted that, it was a locked account, and the
Oh,
time is ticking. I think he's saying this knowing he's gone anyways. Like, what do I have to lose? I'm just gonna tweet something negative about Theory.
yeah, that very well could be. That very well could be. LB says Bob Iger don't even know who Pablo Hidalgo is. Kathleen Kennedy might have been in the same zip code as him once. Oh man.
Hey, all this time to tweet, it just shows you he's not very busy right now.
Right, right.
I don't see Dave Filoni and John Favreau doing. Oh, I saw Favreau do media the other day. You know how Favreau is? He's on Good Morning America. He's talking about the new Grogu name, and he's like, "Listen, guys, you want to call it Baby Yoda? So do we. It's fine. Baby Yoda, it is." And he's just like so accepting of the fans, even when the fans are wrong and his name is Grogu. But he's just like, team fans, if that's what you guys are backing, Baby Yoda. And then we got Hidalgo.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man. Um, Polyhedral, just enjoying. Oh, it's talking about his vacation. Joy is here. Says execs are never held to the same standard their actors are. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, in this case, I think it's because they hold a lot higher position for one, and two, they're not usually the ones that are out there in front of everybody, so we
Yeah.
don't usually hear from them or see them. I'm not sure that it's necessarily that it's not the same standard. It's just that we see the faces of these franchises, the actors more than we do the people behind the scenes, um, for
Is the
sure.
director an executive? Like the James Gunn situation happened. There's one.
I wouldn't say that. Well, I wouldn't say no executive. I mean, he's one of the directors. I mean, he's a hired talent, just like the actors are. And he can get into produce. They get into producing roles and stuff like that. Especially by the time they're the ones that come in and look at the script and do a lot of the directing. A lot of times they do come in as some sort of producer as well. I mean, I would say that I would say they're more of a face of a franchise out there up front, like the actors are, more so than a man like Pablo Hidalgo is, or Bob Iger even. Just they have their names. How would you say? Maybe carry more weight. Um, I would say maybe in the company as a whole, as opposed to a specific franchise, more so. But in this case, this guy is in this specific franchise. So Mike Porter says Theory was showing his genuine emotions, and Hidalgo took it as a burn on his product. Theory was just being genuine. Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I think he was being 100% genuine. I don't know. I just don't understand. I would like to understand why he would say don't show your emotions, in that way about that.
We all know it. I know it. Mike knows it. Joy knows it. Keep reading the comments. We all know it's because he wasn't a part of this hot, fresh Disney Plus saving show. The
Right,
only reason we have Disney Plus.
right, absolutely. Um, yeah, and ReeferMan says, yeah, like I said, Hidalgo says ReeferMan. Joy says Hidalgo can't handle the fact that fans enjoy Mandalorian more than the sequels. Just salty about it. Yeah, and that very well could be. That very well could be. And that's all the more reason why somebody like him probably shouldn't be saying anything. Um, yeah, I just like I said, it just like it has like it just looks bad. I don't see really any excuse for that. Any excuse for it. But like I said, I'm
Do
not
you
gonna
think
burn a guy at the stake for it, but
I'm burning him? Do you think Filoni and Favreau are watching this and they're like, okay, we got to do a reply to this. How are we going to do it?
oh man. Maybe if they're wanting to do if they're wanting to pull a Kevin Feige, oh, absolutely they are. But I think the fact of what they're doing all together kind of already is that.
Nah, I need to get petty. So if Filoni doesn't tweet, and if Filoni tweets today, then we'll know it's a subtweet response. Favreau is not very active either. Yeah, so if Favreau tweets something on Twitter, then you know it's a reaction.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, right. Absolutely. Mike Porter says, "Look, each trilogy follows a Jedi in training. Uh we never see these Jedi's to full potential. We finally got that in The Rescue. So emotions are valid." Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I mean like and I'm not even like a big Luke guy, but like for me the thing was R2D2, but like knowing that it was Luke showing up there, I was hyperventilating, bro. Like when I seen it, like I seen the ship flying, I was like, holy shit, and I was like, I was in disbelief. I was in disbelief the whole time. I didn't believe it until I actually seen Luke's face.
Yeah, me too. Even
Right?
though we should have known a guy in the hood,
Yeah.
it's the same outfit of Return of the Jedi. Even when I saw the green saber, even when I saw his hand with the green saber,
Yeah.
I just couldn't until he
Yeah. Me
unhoods
too.
himself.
Me too. That's why I say I think I was like in disbelief because I couldn't like I think I was at a like less there was less oxygen going to my brain because I was hyperventilating because that was all happening. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But I was too. I was sitting there crying. Like even my kids, my kids turned and they looked at me like my oldest. She goes, "Daddy's crying."
Man. And then he went and said emotions are not for sharing. He's lucky
Yeah,
his account is private because if it wasn't, every tweet he ever wrote, there will be a reply saying that tweet is not for sharing.
yeah, yeah. Um, Stories by Irish is here. How are you doing? I hope all is well. She says, I just did a get I just did a research on what the hell was happening. Hidalgo must not realize how much emotions play into what makes fans of a franchise. Absolutely. That's exactly what it's all based around.
You need emotion. You
Absolutely.
want that because then with that emotion, they're going to use their money and they're going to give you dollars. They have an emotional attachment to Grogu. They're going to buy the child little figurines. What do you call them? The ones that move? Like not action figures, but dolls,
Ah,
I guess. I don't want
yeah,
to call
yeah,
it a doll, but it's a doll.
yeah, yeah,
Emotion drives you to be like a hardcore fan. It's
right.
needed. Emotions are for sharing. It's to
Yeah,
let everyone know I watched this series. It's really cool if you have Disney Plus, you should check out Mandalorian. They are definitely for sharing. I
right.
don't care what the context is. Actually, I do care what the context is. Not let's not get carried away. If the emotion
Yeah,
that Star Wars Theory was doing was like middle fingers and that kind of stuff, I get it. Emotions are not for sharing. But
right.
this was specifically in response to a grown ass 30-year-old getting emotional about Star Wars. And I don't know, the creative executive of the nerd club called Lucasfilm is saying, "Look at this nerd. Emotions are not for sharing."
Right.
You can go.
Right. Absolutely. Lunga says Pablo's job is what Filoni should be right now. He's basically lore master for Star Wars, handles what's canon and shit. Hidalgo is the one who was in charge when they decanonized the EU. So he's one of the
I
guys.
hate him even more now. Go get out of here, Pablo Hidalgo.
So
And see,
he's one of the guys that's screwing everything up.
and
Basically,
Filoni's one of the guys who's resurrecting stuff and going, you know what? That Thrawn trilogy novel, it's back in the canon
right?
because we used Thrawn in Rebels, and we're going to use Grand Admiral Thrawn in the Ahsoka series. So Filoni's the fixer-upper. Filoni's the anti-Hidalgo.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah. Sully Collette comes in and says, "F Pablo." Hey, absolutely, absolutely. LB says, "I felt nothing when Luke showed up on the screen, but if a grown man want to cry, it is what it is. I'm not losing sleep over it. That's just because LB, you're lonely. The only thing you have to cuddle with is your
Yeah.
little pillow."
I want to know why you didn't feel anything when you were watching Luke. Is because his character was killed and you're like, whatever happens here doesn't matter in the end. Is that why?
I think I think it's because R2 is the real hero.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, hey, I get it. So, like I said, I'm not even like a big Luke fan. Like I'm not like, oh, Luke was my hero or anything. But like, I was emotional when he showed up. I was emotional when he showed up. You know, I cried when I seen R2, but I was emotional. Oh man. Um, Woke Wookie says, would Pablo still make fun of Star Wars theory if he was female? Double standards. I don't know.
Would Pablo Hidalgo be in the position he's in if he wasn't Chilean?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll be honest with you. Whether it was a male or female, doing it that he made fun of, I don't think changes the scenario anyway. It doesn't really change the scenario at all. Because I mean it's just he's just an asshole. Eric Yadman says emotions are for sharing. Absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, I mean, there's a time and a place. There's a time and a place for it, and because it just really depends on what we're talking about here. But for the most part, that's kind of what social media is kind of all about. I mean, not everything is all emotional, but it's for sharing thoughts, feelings. It's what people do there. It's what gets people engaged, especially when you're sharing your emotions and your feelings and your reactions, things like that. That's what a lot of people get on YouTube for. It's what a lot of people get on social media for. And you know what? Pablo tweeted his opinion about emotions, or maybe that's his emotion, emotionless. And well, I guess he's seeing what everybody's emotions are and their feelings and their opinions.
Mm.
Gino Get says normally I against wanting someone to get fired, but this guy and all the SJW trash need to get fired from Disney and everywhere. I mean it's general. It's very broad there. Again, I'm not for the guy getting fired. I mean, are they seriously going to fire this guy for that? Sounds like the guy's probably on his way out anyway. I mean, I'm not going to pretend to know, because I have no clue. But needless to say, when contract negotiations come up again, this probably isn't going to be looked over. um, Soy Class says animatronic Grogu, right?
Animatronics.
Hmm. Yeah. It's Mark Warren. You're back. It's Mark Warren. What? I must have missed something there. Stories by Iris says, I mean, Universal Studios react amazingly when fans show up at their Hogwarts attractions in tears. It's the freaking emotions that the story evokes that make it a damn fandom. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I cried when Mando took off his mask. Hey, there you go. There you go.
You know what's funny? LB just typed the lyrics of the Mariah Carey "Emotion" song, and I actually searched up that song after hearing the story too. That's crazy.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. um, Luke was a badass when he walked in. Yeah, dude, he was kicking ass. He was kicking ass. Grand
It was
Admiral
amazing.
Thrawn says Pablo was an asshole. Whoa, hold on, Grand Admiral Thrawn. I just want to stop you right there. I think you're wrong. I don't think Pablo was an asshole because you're putting that in past tense, Grand Admiral Thrawn. I think Pablo is an asshole. How
It
about
never
that?
stopped.
And a lot of people are. To be fair, a lot of people are assholes. I mean, I'm not gonna hold it against the guy, but I will hold against the guy that he's telling one of his fans to fuck off. Basically, I'll hold
At a
that
guy
against him.
who's a man who's never taken a shot at Pablo Hidalgo, to my
Yeah.
knowledge, and just dislikes art. Are you not allowed to like
Yeah.
dislike a movie? I don't care if you were involved in it. He provided his reasons for why he disliked it. You know, it's the same reasons everyone provides. Yoda shouldn't be using Force lightning from the dead, killing the main villain in the second film of a trilogy. Um, Rey's parentage being from Kenobi to nobody to Palpatine. Like he's backing it up with with why, and it's crazy how Pablo Hidalgo's sad that we didn't like his movies. What's
Yeah.
Pablo Hidalgo doing right now? What's the last thing that had Hidalgo's name on it? I can't think of it. Maybe he's doing those comic books. Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Um, Stories by Ira says, "Hell, I cried when I got a picture with the stormtrooper. The first and last time I went to Disney World." Yeah. Yeah. See, even Gino says the same thing. Yeah. No, he is. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, even this guy right here in the chat, Chappie, my man Chappie says, "I'd cry if I seen you in person." I know, Chappie. Give me big hugs. Except for I'd
He
have
was
my mask on and
talking
stuff, so you
about
could give me
me,
the Rona.
actually, Trinity. So,
Oh. Oh. He what?
sorry.
Are you, all right. Emotions make you cry sometimes. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I was watching Theory's reaction again this morning. Well, not again, for the first time to it this morning. I mean, I seen it on the that little highlight reel thing. But I watched it and I was like, and it wasn't on screen or anything. You didn't see the show on screen. I was watching his reaction to it, and I got emotional watching his reaction to it.
Yeah, he's like rocking back and forth. Don't give me hope, and he's just like crying. Like you can't fake that. Tears are coming from his eyes.
Yeah, it really explains why the sequels are the way they are based on the type of people they hire. I guess you could say that. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And I did, I wasn't like this on that side. I never. Now I've come to that conclusion. Like the people behind this are just stupid, and they're just like I said before. They put down their flag now, and that's what they're standing by. Our movies. If you don't like it, then f off. That's what they're doing now. It feels like that, and that's the type of people they are. They
Yeah.
got to hit the road.
hmm Yeah, and Lieutenant Joker, I'm guessing that's Lieutenant Joker, says if you think this will have consequences for Hidalgo, you're delusional. Yeah, I don't really think there's really going to be any consequences for him. I don't think there's going to be consequences for him at all. Um, in the form of consequences that no, probably not.
Yeah, yeah. We're
Um,
we're both thinking that just when his contract expires, it just means he won't get picked up. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. You, Trinity?
yeah, I mean, possibly, yeah, probably. I mean, that's when that would something like that would be looked at. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and he said goes on to say Star Wars book authors have been doing this on Twitter nonstop, and they're still getting new contracts. And that's again, that's the thing on social media too. And we could chop that up all day about social media and what people are doing on there and how people take it. I mean, just like this, just like this exact same thing. Mark
So
Malone
there's a
says, "Okay, I'm back."
so there's a culture at Lucasfilm where if you do, I don't know, I mean, take shots at the fans, then you get rewarded with more books. That's how I'm taking that news.
Yeah.
If all these authors are getting more work.
Right. Well, and even Lieutenant Joker, yeah, pretty much saying exactly what you just said. It says Lieutenant Joker says this is the company's attitude so far, and it hasn't changed in years. This is nothing new. Yeah, and again, I think there's. I'm not saying that they can't have their opinions and they can't share their opinions. I just think there's certain ways in which it's done that are very highly questionable. Very highly questionable. Like I said, this right here, this guy, he's not really gonna face any kind of real repercussions for it. Um, and again, that's something else too. Like we could chop that up all day on like on Twitter. We could get into Twitter and take a look at like all the comic book people, and on all the writers and creators there, and talk about that all day long too. And yeah, it's nothing new. And here's the thing: is like for the most part, I don't really care about any of that. Even like this thing with Pablo Hidalgo, I can easily just say, fuck Pablo Hidalgo and be done with it, and not have to worry about it. I can still watch anything Star Wars franchise related and not feel bad about it because I don't really care what this guy's saying about this kind of stuff. I think it's messed up. I don't think he should be doing it. But hey, he's entitled to his opinion, and he's entitled to share it too. He's entitled to share it too, and he's entitled to have people fire back and not want to support the things that he does.
And that would be me, who is not watching any of the sequel trilogies anymore. I'm not going to go back to watch freaking Solo. I never even watched it in the first place. I'm just let the past die.
Right. Yeah, and and it's you just wash your hands of it and be like, hey, I'm done with it. I'm done with it. As a fan, I'm done with it. Kind of like I said, we could talk about that like with the comic books. I mean, the same thing. We see a lot of people doing that same thing with the comic books on Twitter and all that stuff. And the thing is like I think I think the most important thing for people out there, anybody who's coming on here to watch me flap my gums about this, is it's up to you as the fan to what level you want to take things to. If you want to still support them and not really care, like they're like, I don't really care. Like for me, I don't really care what these people are saying on social media or anything. If you're if I was a Republican far right and they're far left and they're on there tweeting anti-Republican stuff, I don't really care about your politics. I don't care that much. If you're writing a good comic book that I want to read, I'm gonna read it, regardless
Same.
of whatever you're saying on Twitter. But not everybody's like that, and that's perfectly fine too. I don't. It's to what your level of comfortability of how much you're willing to, I guess you could say, support a person or their brand or things like that. Um, I think it's really up to the individual for sure.
So politics wise, I don't think that should have any effect on, the artwork, the art. But
Right.
this wasn't a political thing. This was just about Lucasfilm's own, production, The Mandalorian. And I guess that's why I care. But for the most part, I was with everything you were saying about just not caring whatever they tweet about. It's your life.
Right. Right. Yeah. And again, I mean, like I said, for me, it's easy to let go, but obviously, we are kind of in a court of public opinion here, and I mean, and that's really what we're talking about here more than anything is how people are reacting to this more so than how the company's going to react to it. Because I guess that's essentially what it's more all about in the first place. Because we are the fans, we are the ones supporting it.
So LT Joker asks, what do you think that Mark Hamill thinks of this when he gets a word on it? He's active on Twitter.
Yeah, he is. Just gave the fans a Christmas present. The year was going to end with the fans behind them, and this guy comes. Yeah, right. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. That's a good question. And again, when it comes down to that too, I easily say just like everybody else says when it comes to this kind of stuff is I don't really give a shit what Mark Hamill thinks about it. To be quite honest with you,
But
but
I
you
am
know.
not above that. I will think.
Yeah, like, well, the thing is, like, I don't give a shit about it. It's just, I don't really care what they say in that way. Like, hey, you want to say it? Hey, we'll talk about it and all that stuff. But hey, you do what you do. It gives me something to talk about. I guess it gives me something to talk about. Is it wrong? Yeah, probably so. This dude shouldn't be doing that to Star Wars theory about this stuff. But I'm not gonna go after the guy with pitchforks. I mean, yeah. Louis the 13th says start over. Yeah. Yeah. People can share their opinions all they like, but if you do that with an account that's strongly linked to the company, this is the Twitter account Hidalgo uses to answer lore questions too. Yeah, and I think again we could go all day about that because one of the things I've even talked about before too was like a while back was that Kathy Griffin did the thing with the Trump head, cut off, and she faced the repercussions. Everybody was mad. She got canceled. And Rosie, what was it, Rosie? No, not O'Donnell, not Rosie. Roseanne. She tweeted
Roseanne.
that stuff. She tweeted, like, oh, it was Basically, she said it was the drugs. But the thing is, like, here's what I would say. Kind of what LT Joker is getting at is, look, is if you're a comedian, and this is where it gets confusing because I see these comedians going out there. Kathy Griffin, she's a comedian. She goes out there and does this thing. And okay, what do you, as your comedian self, what are you using your account for? Do you use it to tell jokes a lot, and you're just haha, it's funny, haha, and then you're going out there and making these political statements stuff like haha, it's funny, and we can just look at it like that, or do you get on there and you post a lot of serious shit and then you post this, and it's like, okay, you're kind of like, you're a comedian, I get it, and like, it was supposed to be a joke, but you don't use your social media. You don't use your social media in that way, typically, but now all of a sudden it's a joke, you know. And I'm not saying that comedians should save their stand-ups or their routines or their jokes or anything for just on stage, but it kind of runs into that territory where, you know, what is this person using their social media for? And I think that's what LT Joker is talking about there, where they use it to share things about the lore and stuff like that to engage with fans, and then you're flipping them off. I think there's a lot to be said with that, the way you're interacting with it. But if it was just like his personal account where he's, you know, tweeting about whatever, hey, okay,
it kind of is.
You're just an asshole.
It's a private account, so he could say this is not meant for him to see. This is sort of what I'm saying amongst my brethren. But because he put the tweet on his cover photo, if you didn't know that, he did. The whole emotions. Yeah, emotions are not for sharing. That was screenshotted, and then he put it on his cover photo. You guys know what that is, right? It's behind your avatar.
Yeah.
And everyone can see that.
Wow. Yeah. But anyway, man, I don't know. I think we probably chopped up about this enough. I mean, I think what he... It's not that what he said is necessarily wrong. It's the context in which he said and did it, and to who necessarily. Like, if he said that to me, I'd be like, whatever, I could care less. But he's not. But I'm not in this guy's scope. I'm not in this guy's field of view. Star Wars Theory is, right? This wasn't just like some tweet. He wasn't just tweeting this about just like some average fan, just some average person. You know what I mean? He did this to a person that a lot of people already have their eyes on, and he damn well knows it. He damn well knows it, you know. But anyway, do you have any last thoughts before we go?
Yes, Pablo Hidalgo is an idiot. Who do you think has more pull amongst the Star Wars fan base? The person who provides them with content on a weekly, sometimes daily basis, or the guy who writes the stories and doesn't have any time on screen or any like love? Like, you don't pick a battle with someone like Star Wars Theory thinking any outcome is going to be favorable for you.
Right. Right.
Sorry, that's not what you meant by it. Do I have any going, Court? Follow me on Twitter, Chillmonger. Follow me on YouTube, Chillmonger.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Go follow Chillmonger. Go check out his channel. I will. Dang, I don't have a link here to put up there. Let's see if we can get a link.
That's fine. They can spell Chillmonger.
Oh, okay. I hate to put that on people. But make sure that you go check out Chillmonger's channel. It is under Chillmonger. Just search it. Good friend of the channel here. We will have him on again next week if he is available to talk about something else. This just happened to be what we were talking about today. But definitely go check out his channel. Talks a lot about comic books. Shares his opinions on comic books, movies, and even reviews. Go check him out. And also, if you're not subscribed here, feel free to subscribe and like this video or dislike it. You know, maybe you don't like my opinions. Maybe you like Pablo Hidalgo. Hard to say. But regardless, I mean, if you do, maybe you should stay here, and we'll say if we say F him more. But you all have a very good day, and we'll see you all in the next video. Later.